hope you had a great day today. I hope that your weather was perfect, that your interactions with people were perfect, and that you are with people you love and people who love you. I'm going to talk about Meghan Markle, about all of this hullabaloo, about a hazardous ride in New York after she gave a speech. Well, we know she was honored at a event where she won an award for her efforts in trying to work to help women through her nonprofit organization. And I didn't really hear the speech. I heard a couple of lines from the speech, and it struck me that she was giving the same message that her father gave her as a child. He said that when she was a child and she was asked to pick a race, white or black, she said, "What do I put down?" And her dad said, "Well, you make your own box." And so she put her own box in that she was mixed, or however she phrased it. And that was kind of what I got that she was speaking about at this event. She was talking about make your own life. Don't have people put you in a box and tell you what your life is going to be or not going to be, or that you're a success or a failure. Make your own life and do what you want. Well, for some people that's good, some people that's bad. We have a lot of people, unfortunately, who we can't trust to make their own lives because they just go crazy or have demented minds. But that was a good speech, and it was a tribute to her father and the message he gave her throughout life. Well, when they left the event, you could see there was a real difference. Harry was really key on getting to that limousine. He was pulling Meghan. Meghan was behind him, and she was smiling and waving. You have to know that Meghan has been trained to be a Hollywood famous person. Her dad was in the media. I think he was with television. She sat as a teen and she watched him do these movie shoots. She was elated when people who were on television came and shook her hand. I think she occasionally got to do something in some of these scripts. And so this is what was success for her. This was her life. This is where her dad focused her, and she was involved in a lot of events, doing drama and so forth at her school, and her dad worked intently on all of that stuff because that was in his field, lighting. And then when she went to college, she also took some classes in acting. So that is Meghan. So when I saw Harry pulling Meghan and she's behind him and she's smiling for the cameras and kind of lagging behind, she's not real happy to fly off to the car. And I didn't even see Doria. But once you understand who Meghan is, then you can be less critical because she's not going to change. She's been directed toward this life her whole life, and she wants the typical Hollywood life that she saw in the media, in television, all that stuff that she heard about. She now has an opportunity to enjoy it, and she wants to bask in it. So they finally get to the SUV, and they're inside, and we can see from photography, photos, that Meghan is smiling. Well, that's because she's looking for great pictures. She doesn't want to look sad or stern or upset, or if she's talking, she wants to have her pictures look great. This is her moment to get pictures done by paparazzi. So as Harry is doing things in the car, Meghan is sitting there smiling, and she's basically posing for the paparazzi. Doria is probably thinking, I just want to get home and take care of my little grandkids and do whatever it is she had planned to do. And then Harry is, of course, thinking about his stress, his fears about paparazzi. He's worried, are they going to have good security? Are they going to have enough security? Are there going to be any problems? So they're in the SUV. There are paparazzi following them, taking pictures, and the driver, the security driver, it's told, was swerving, left lane to right lane to left lane, and so forth, weaving in and out of traffic, trying to ditch the paparazzi. They finally get to a point where they can't ditch them, and they don't want to lead these paparazzi to the exact location that they're going to stay for the night. Well, that location might not have any security that's adequate for them staying overnight. They might have their children at that location. Who knows? But for some reason, they don't want the paparazzi to know the exact location of where they're going to be spending the night and sleeping. So they decide to stop at a police precinct office. They switch into a yellow cab. Now, the yellow cab driver is not used to, of course, this level of security. They get in the cab. Of course, there are now no tinted windows, so the paparazzi can see directly in to the yellow cab. They can get really good pictures of all three people in the back, and so security has dropped significantly. And this guy probably didn't even know Harry and Meghan, and he probably doesn't know what he's getting into. The cab driver says that as soon as they start up, the paparazzi are taking lots of pictures, and you can see that in the photo that I saw, that the flashlights are going like crazy as soon as the cab starts up, because they can get great pictures of all three of them from any direction, whether they go from the side window or they shoot through the front window. So, of course, again, Meghan doesn't look stressed because she realizes these are all publishable pictures and she does not want to have a bad picture taken. So she is looking relaxed and smiling. She does not look stressed. But that doesn't mean she's not stressed. It just means she is not giving a stressful expression. So the cab driver decides to stay around the precinct office, and he drives them for about 15 minutes. He says that the paparazzi did surround the car, and you can see that was true. And there are two police cars behind Meghan and Harry's cab that you can see. But those police cars were not for Meghan and Harry. They were going to another location. And you can see, as the photograph shows, Meghan and Harry's car going down the road. That cab goes straight, and the police cars turn right off onto a different street for whatever they're being called for. So I don't really know. It didn't show that there was anything really behind Meghan and Harry's cab as far as security. There was no security car. So they drive around for, as the cab driver said, for about 15 minutes. Then they come back to the precinct, which they assume is a safe location. As far as somebody who wants to do them harm, that would be a harder place for them to do it, I guess. And then they get back into the black SUV, and they continue to ride around to try to get rid of the paparazzi. The paparazzi said that there was a lot of danger in the chase of Meghan's car because of lane switching. It wasn't a fast chase. It wasn't like something you'd see on TV, but it was just a sticking to the car that they were in, trying to get pictures and doing whatever they can, because of course they want unusual pictures. They'd like to get, somebody crying or yelling or screaming or sticking their tongue out or something. So they're not really looking for the routine pictures. They're trying to get something special, because Meghan and Harry, or just Meghan alone, or just Harry alone, those pictures can go for like $500,000, I'm told. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what they say. So anyway, they finally, at some time after about an hour and 45 minutes or so, they get to finally get dropped off at wherever they are trying to go, and the evening is done, and then the uproar about what in the world happened starts. So everyone had an opinion, and this is really important for people to see. It's how people in general rewrite history. We don't know what happened. We have a general idea, but as I see it reported from a lot of different media, some people poo-poo everything and say there was nothing going on, it was just a regular ride. Other people say, well, there was never any danger. I don't agree with that, because the British media particularly have demonized Harry and Meghan, saying they want to get rid of the monarchy and blah, blah, blah. And when you demonize people, there's always some nut out there who decides they're going to save Britain and they're going to save the monarchy, and they're ready to kill the people who are trying to kill the monarchy, according to British media. So there's always a bit of danger in paparazzi. That's a vague term. Anyone can be paparazzi. So just because someone has a camera in their hands, it doesn't mean they don't have a gun in their pocket or some other plan that could injure the couple. And they have children. They want to get home to their kids. They don't really want to be in some long, drawn-out thing. But anyway, the media says, I've heard people say that the cab ride was only 10 minutes, and the cab driver, I heard him with my own ears say it lasted about 15 minutes of them basically driving around in one area and trying to get rid of some of the paparazzi. That was a very bad security move, taking them from a secure car to putting them in a yellow cab with a driver you don't know. I mean, perhaps he could have heard of Meghan and Harry. Perhaps he could have had strong feelings against them or whatever. But anyway, put them in a cab with an unsecured driver who didn't know what he was doing. Is he a trained driver that could handle the paparazzi? No one knew. So he could have had a big accident. So after this, everyone has thoughts as to what happened, what could have done. One person repeatedly said, well, they just should have stopped, not played the game, and just stopped. Well, that's a stupid idea, because, again, if somebody does have the desire to hurt Harry and Meghan, mostly based on what the British media has been saying 24 hours a day, every day, that they feel that Meghan are doing harm to them. British people, and they're trying to ruin the country, and they're trying to get rid of the king and queen, and blah, blah, blah. If you stop, you're certainly giving a person who wants to hurt you an opportunity to do so, and you're also caught. You're like an animal in a cage. You can't do anything. You can't get out of the car. She's in a gown, and Doria, of course, is older. She can't be fighting her way through a crowd. So stopping is one of the stupidest things I heard people in Britain say. Some people say go to a hotel and just check in. Well, that's stupid to me, because what are you going to do once you check in? You're there in a gown. You don't have any of your personal items. Harry's in a suit. He doesn't have anything. That would be a very depressing night, when it started off so great with her getting an award, and then they still have the problem of getting out of that hotel. Listening to people, one of the things I thought about is that if they had two cars, a car ahead of them and a car behind them, so that would be a total of 3 SUVs, they could go into a hotel garage if it only had one entrance. The car in front could go in first and lead the second SUV to a spot in a garage where they could switch passengers. Maybe get Harry and Meghan out of that black SUV, maybe into a security car that was of a different color. And then they could go out anonymously. They could also have for them like a cape or something that they could put over their heads, a black cape, so that you wouldn't be able to see the gold gown and you wouldn't recognize Harry and Doria in the back. And they could all lean down as they're exiting so people couldn't see exactly who's in the car, and then they could get out that way. And the back car, the third car, would be to block the entrance for about 5 minutes so that they would have time to get to a parking space, make the switch, and nobody would be there to see what was going on. I kind of like that idea. Of course, it does mean 3 cars. It does take a lot of pre-planning. What garage are you going to go to? Do you have the stuff, the cape and so forth? What car are you going to exit with? And actually, that's 4 cars because you're going to need an exit car, and then arrive back at your location, wherever that is, which it seems like it was very close to the awards ceremony. So, what do you think? It's important to see how people change history according to their own biases, how people make stuff up. This is the history that we get as kids. We are taught history. Who wrote that history? What was their bias? What message were they trying to send us? And it's very important that people keep their own history. Don't let somebody write your history for you. Don't let somebody put the things you saw out as the final word. Just because somebody calls themselves a historian, anybody can be a historian. And if you witnessed what you saw personally for this escape during New York, write it down. Make it part of the history that's available to people who want to know an alternate story as to what happened. Otherwise, you're going to get the very, very prejudicial stories coming from England as the final word. And they have been manipulating the story immensely over the past couple of days. So write your story out. Get it printed and put it out as what you saw happening during the event, if you saw something. And in general, make sure that you write your own story and not have somebody write your story for you. So what do you think? Okay, like and subscribe. Bye.